Hey everyone, Mikebiggs here. What I actually have for you guys today, well, first of all, my name of course is Mikebiggs. I'm the Quality K9. I'm a dog trainer out in Dunwoody, Georgia. I specialize in behavior modification and obedience. What I do here is, what I'm actually going to show you guys, this is part of my do-it-yourself series, I'm actually going to show you guys how to introduce your dogs to the place command. We have place over here, we have Navi over here who's in place, and if we go right over there, you can actually see Champ down there in the corner. So I'll actually give you that so you can see them both. So, what is place command? Place is basically an area. Place is an idea. Place is a spot where you can put your dog that they can just sit and relax and they can't get up. They actually are not allowed to get up from that spot regardless of the reason. So this actually works out in many ways. Down. Good. And that's one thing you're going to notice about my videos. I'm going to do all these live with my dogs, so you can actually, or at least most of them, so you can actually see what's going on, how, when I correct, if I have to correct, how I go about certain situations, and I just want my dogs to be involved. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the place command. I actually want them to be in a down. When I teach place, I actually put the dogs into a down when they're on it. Putting a dog in a down is just the position where they can just be nice and relaxed, and I'll actually be in the camera. A down is the position the dog can actually be nice and relaxed, and they can actually just mellow themselves out. It teaches the dog to just be calm. And if you put place, you can put place anywhere, and place can be anything. Place can be this chair, for example. Champ. Place. Good boy. Sit. Lay down. Good. Now that chair is place. Serves the same purpose. I could use a table as place. I could use a mat as place. Place can be anything. Preferably use dog beds. At least I like to use dog beds, just because dog beds aren't really moving around. You can use a blanket, but the thing is, in the early stages, it can get really, really scratched up, and it's a little hard to manage when the dog is trying to learn it and they're moving around on it. So what I'm going to do is actually go over you guys with Navi how I teach place in the early stages. Now, what I do is that I teach the dog going into this, the dog actually understands what markers mean. Markers are basically, in my particular case, I use 3 of them. A marker is just a moment in time where the dog does something, So if a dog does something that I want them to do, and they execute the command, and I want them to come retrieve their reward, I say break. That means you're done, come get it. If the dog is doing something and I like what they're doing and I want them to keep doing that, I say good. Good means that's a good job, and I'm going to come bring you your reward. So for her case, she's in place, I say good, and that's her reward. And we go like that. And then nope is the other marker that I use, but nope has to be fair. And I say this because the dog actually has to understand what you want them to do in order for them to go back to it. Nope means stop that, go back to what you were doing. So if she were to get up, because she understands place at this stage, I would say nope. And if she doesn't go back, I would actually go take the leash and guide her back to it. Now, I feel like if I were to put this in phases, she's still in the distraction-ish phase of learning place, so I wouldn't actually correct her for getting up. I would actually just get up and give her information and say no, or not no, nope, and grab her and walk her back over to place, just to let her know nope means, in this scenario, I don't want you up, I want you back in place. So now that I got done with all the talking, I'm actually going to go ahead and walk you through how I actually do this. Good girl. Navi, place. Good. And now, Navi actually understands to go right into a down when she gets into place. This is something we already went over. I will do a video in the future of me doing this with a green dog, basically a dog who doesn't even know what place means. I'll go over doing that with a green dog just to show you how I get the dog into place and how I get the dog into a down. The important things to note here is I'm using my body as a magnet. In the beginning, that's important. So for instance, if I had her, Navi, let's go. Good girl. If I walked her over and said, Navi, place, I would want to be right here in this spot just because it attracts her to me. Naturally, dogs in the early stages of this, especially if they're in the area of I want to be around you, they're going to come near you. So if I put her into place and I stood over here, I mean, see how she's even looking at me right now. If I put her into place and I came over here in the early stages, like if I were just beginning this, she would likely travel over here towards me. So that means she'd be hanging on the edge of it. And I don't really want her to do that. So in the early stages, I walk her. I walk myself right here, and it gets her to come over here and lay down right in front of me. And that's how I get them into it. Now, in order to introduce them to the mat, what I want to actually do is start getting them on and getting them off, getting them on and getting them off. So it's really, really rapid. If you're using food, which I have no problems with, or treats or anything like that, I don't personally use treats. I actually use the dog's daily food in training, but this is what I would do. I would put her on, then I would say, break, good girl, and she comes to get her reward, right? And then I walk her on, place, good, break, good girl, now be place, good, break, good girl. And now notice what I'm doing with the leash. I'm actually taking the leash when I say break and just giving her a little bit of guidance towards me to let her know when I say that, that means you're good. You did a great job, come to me and I will give you your reward. And my reward for her in this case is petting and just letting her know she did good. This is something she loves, and that's important to understand about rewarding your dog. When you reward your dog, the idea is to give them something they enjoy. I'm not using food for this because I don't want to excite the dog. And food typically does that. When you're using treats, when you're using food, or even when you're using play, you're actually exciting the dog, and that's not the objective of place. Place I actually want to calm the dog down. You can use plays for any instances where, like, say for instance, I have someone I know is coming to the house. I don't want my dog to rush the door. So then I take my dog and put him in place. So Navi, place. Down. Good girl. She enjoys that. So then I walk away. Someone knocks on the door. Dog stays there. Granted, I'm not actually knocking on a door there, but it still simulates the idea. How can she rush the door if she's supposed to stay in place? She can't if the command is proved. So then that is the general idea. So once you actually start getting the dog on and taking the dog off, you can actually start working your way up to duration. So in the early stages, once the dog understands what place is, you can consistently get them on and off of the mat. What you then want to do is move on to doing duration work. So then I would put her on it, I'd put her on it, and then I would maybe take a step back. And then if she holds that, I wouldn't even be really harsh on her at this point. I'd say maybe 10 seconds or so, and then good. Go up, good job. And then break. And then reset. Navi, place. Good girl. And now keep in mind, good actually means I like what you're doing, keep doing it, and you're one step closer to getting your break. Which means the more good, if I tell you good, that means keep that up, and eventually you are going to be released for a reward. So that lets the dog know that, okay, He gave me that information, so that means I'm gonna go ahead and sit here until he lets me know I can come off of it. And I just condition that over and over again until you can actually work your way up to, for example, if I walked over here right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and walk into the house. Here comes. See, now I said here, and that's what she responded to. So I'm not correcting her. Keep that in mind. Place. Knobby down. Good girl. I'm not correcting her for that, but that's a good example of how you want to proof it. I simulated walking into the door, and even though I said here, that caused her to break and come over there. And that's an example of the information you get. In the early stages, it's just as simple as taking up the leash, walking them back, same place, put them back down, dog goes into a down, and you leave them right there, and you can start working on your duration. So I'm gonna walk away again, and I'm actually walking into my house. Good job. Break. Good girl. Good girl. And then you just start working your way up. Champ, come here. Come on. Good boy. I said break, so he's like, I'm going to go out into the yard now. Knobby, place. And let's get them both back in place. Champ, here. Champ, come on. Nope. Champ, place. Nope. Place. Good. Down. 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 Good. And that's that. So the important thing is you want to associate it. Then you want to start working on duration. So once you start getting the dog on and off of it consistently, nope. Good. Once you start getting the dog on and off of it consistently and you realize that you can stand right here and say place and the dog walks, we'll go into that. Let's go. Knobby, place. And see how she sits there. So then I'm just going to give her a little guidance. Place. Good girl. And then you start working that out. So you start working out your distance and actually sending them over to it. And that actually teaches them, you can be in your kitchen and send your dog in the place in the dining room. And that's eventually what you want to work up to, distance and duration. Okay, so you get them associated, and then you start working on distance and duration. And once your dog actually understands what the command is, then you can actually start adding in cues. I like to add in cues after the dog is consistently getting on. In this video, I'm actually saying place as I do it because she understands what place is. But once I get her on the mat, like in the early stages, once they get all 4 paws on the mat, break them and give them a reward. You know, break them, pet them, break them, give them praise, and then you can actually start adding in the verbal cue once you have that consistency. So you can go, you start getting consistent, you start making sure they understand the mat, then you can start working yourself out to where you can get distance away from them. You can go into making sure you can send them at a distance, and then you can actually start making sure that you get them on there longer. Place is something you can do if you're sitting at home on your computer, working on a website, social media, you're just browsing, watching a movie, you're sitting down in your kitchen eating dinner, you have company over and you just want to, you're having people sit in one room, put your dog in place in another room. Dog breaks, go put the dog back in there, and that's how you can work on duration. You can actually train your dog by having them just stay in place. Mikebiggs, the Quality K9, thank you so much for watching.